All right, so here is your review packet for trigonometry exam. So this involves questions that require a calculator and that don't require a calculator. So I think the beginning of the packet, we're going to need our calculator. Make sure I have it. All right, so solve the right triangle below and solve. So what do we know already about this right triangle? And then solving it is finding all the missing parts. So we know A is equal to 2. We know C is equal to 10. And I need to find all the other parts. So let's just start. If I want to find angle A, understand what's given. This is a SOHCAHTOA question. So opposite and hypotenuse. So it's going to be inverse sine of 2 over 10, and then use your calculator. Let me do that. Make sure your calculator is in degrees. So inverse sine, was it 2 over 10? So it is about 11.5 and 2 decimal places. So we'll go 5/6. Now that means I already know the measure of angle B because I can go 90 subtract 11.56. And that gives me 78.46. That's angle B. And then what's still missing here that I don't know is side B. And I can just use the Pythagorean Theorem. So B is equal to the square root of 10 squared minus 2 squared. That's 100, take away 4. That's the square root of 96. And that's the same as 4 times 24? No, I could do 16, right? 96 divided by 16. Escape. So, yeah, 6. So that's the same as 16 times 6, so that's 4 root 6. And if I round it to 2 decimal places, the square root of 96, like it asked me to. So the B is really 9.79, rounds up, so 9.80. So these are the way to solve a right triangle. Here are some stories to do, probably with the right triangle. Straight trail with an inclination of 17 degrees. So you have a trail that's going up at an angle of 17 degrees. This is your trail. And it starts at a lodge, and it ends at a lake. And what we know is it starts at 500 and it ends at 5100. So I need to know the elevation gain. So step 1 here, we're going to subtract those two numbers to know what's the straight up height in terms of the elevation of it. So when I subtract those, I get 4600. That's going to be this side right here, 4600. Next, you need that information to find the length of the trail. So SOHCAHTOA. So circle the angle, opposite and hypotenuse. That's sine 17 and opposite over hypotenuse. To get x by itself, you multiply and then divide by sine 17. And then that's what you put in the calculator. And you get 15,733 feet. Number 3, a photographer points a camera at a window in a nearby building, forming an angle of 42 degrees with the camera platform. If the camera is 52 meters from the building, how high above the platform is the window? So you have a platform, and on there might be a camera. You have a building, and then from the platform to the window, the angle is 42 degrees, and the camera is 52 meters from the building. So the distance here is 52 meters, and the question is how high above the platform is the window? So that's right there, and you see your right triangle. Now know, is it sine, cosine, or tangent? So there's the angle, opposite and adjacent. So that's tangent 42, opposite over adjacent. To get x by itself, multiplied by 52. And I get the answer 46 point, to the nearest hundredth, 2 numbers after the decimal, 82. So 46.82 meters. Number 4, a tree casts a shadow 26 meters when the angle of elevation to the sun is 24 degrees. Find the height of the tree. So here you have what information you have. A tree casts a shadow of 26 meters. That's along the ground. We know the angle of elevation from the shadow up to the sun, so it's from the ground up, is 24 degrees. And then I need to find the height of that tree. So do you see the right triangle there? Opposite over adjacent. So again, it's going to be tangent. You get x by itself, multiply by 26, and then use your calculator. To the nearest meter. So to the nearest meter, the answer would be 12 if you round to the nearest meter. So the height of the tree is 12 meters. All right, can you solve a non-right triangle? So let's start easy. So angle C here, just go 180 subtract. So 180 subtract 15, subtract 120. So that's 60 here. I think that's 45. I know it's 45. Next, can you find a missing side? So know what's given to know which law you need to use. So do you know an angle and its opposite side? So it's the law of sine. So sine 15 over 7. If I want to find A, I need to use 120. And then use your calculator. So to solve for A, you're going to go 7 times sine 120 divided by sine 15. So that's 23 point, we'll call it 4. And then how would I solve for C? So we're going to go sine 15 over 7 again, but this time the angle we need to use, what's angle C we found was 45. So sine 45 over C. So again, we're going to multiply 7 times sine 45. And then divide that by sine 15. So it's about 19.1. Number 6, can you solve this one? So again, we'll start easy. The measure of angle B is 180, take away 80, take away 50. So that's 50. Now the good news is, because this is 50, I can use a property here. This is isosceles. So A must equal 6 because it's isosceles, because they're opposite of the same size angle. Then I'm going to use sine 50 over 6 to find C. So sine 80 over C, and then cross multiply and divide. So 6 times sine 80 divided by sine 50. And it's about 7.7. All right, so two sides and an angle are given. Determine whether the information results in one triangle, two, or no triangle, and then if there's something that's there, you need to solve it. So we're going to draw this. So ABC, and then label it. So little a is opposite of big A. B is 49. And then C, I don't know. So with the information given, could you set something up? So first of all, what do we know that can help us? Oh, we know what B is. B is 9. Okay. So we're going to start with what we know, which is 49 degrees and 9. The only other thing I know is 7. So I have to use 7, and it's opposite of angle A. So to get a by itself, I'm going to do the inverse sine to get a by itself. 7 times sine 49 divided by 9. And then this answer actually has two possibilities. So we're going to go inverse sine, 7 sine 49 divided by 9. So the calculator gives me the answer 35.9. Or I need to subtract 180. And the other possibility could be is 144.1. Now I need to test this one out. So if I add this one to 49, notice the angle I do know, and I add it to the obtuse angle, it's way too big. It's bigger than 180, so that means there's only one triangle possible. So now I can find the other angle that I need. So there's only one thing possible, so angle C then is going to be 180 take away 49 take away 35.9. That's going to be simple. So that's 95.1. And then what's the last thing that I don't know? Side C. So again, I'm going to start with what I know. And then to find side C, I need to use the angle 95.1. So you get C by itself. Again, you're going to cross multiply and divide. So I'm going 9 times sine 95.1 divided by sine 49. And it's about 11.9 for the size of that side. B. Let's draw a little triangle here. So I'm going to label it ABC. So angle C is 70. Little b is 2. Little c is 6. And that's all the information. So start with what you know. So sine 70 over 2. I don't know the angle, but the angle opposite of 6 is c. So sine c over 6. And now I'm going to solve for c. So it's going to be inverse, and I'm going to cross multiply. So it's going to be 6 times sine 70 divided by 2. And I already can tell this is going to be trouble, but let's go. Inverse sine 6 sine 70 divided by 2. And it gives me an error message. And the reason is because there's no triangle possible with this information. So it's too big a number for inverse sine inside. It's bigger than 1. All right, number 9. So I'm going to draw a triangle, ABC. I know B is 9. Big B is 10, little a is 26, and that's all I know. So start with what you know. Sine 10 over 9, sine a over 26. To get a by itself, it's the inverse sine of 26 times sine 10 divided by 9. So let me do that in the calculator. And I get 30.1 or 149.9. And I get that by subtracting 180. And if I add that to 10, there's room for 2 triangles. So with this information, there are 2 triangles possible. So for some of you, you need to organize this. So I'm going to call 1, and I'm going to label it over here. We have triangle 1 and triangle 2. And what I'm looking for each one is I'm looking for angle A. I just found it. Angle A is 30.1. And for triangle 2, it's 149.9. I also need to find angle C. So to find angle C, I'm going to go 180, subtract 30.1, subtract the angle inside, 10. So that gives me 139.9. On the other side, I'm going to go 180, subtract 149.9, subtract 10. So that gives me 20.1. And then the last thing I need to do is solve for little c, that last side. So I need to set up 2 situations. So one situation I'm going to use, and they're both going to start the same way. So it's sine 10 over 9. But for the first triangle, I'm going to use 139.9 and then cross multiply and divide. So let's do that. So that's 9 times sine 139.9 divided by sine 10. So I get 33.4 if you round it. Now I'm going to do the same thing again, start with sine 10 over 9, but this time I'm going to use 20.1. So if I use 20.1 and do the same math, I'm going to go 9 times sine 20.1 this time, divided by sine 10. And if I round that, it gives me 17.8. And then this gives you a nice organized way to know triangle 1 and triangle 2 and solving them both. All right, turn the page. All right, I'm going to do a second video starting with question number 10. So the first video was 1 through 9. Mr. G Math, over now.